Hello, what's up? It is Thursday, and you know what Thursday at 5 o'clock Standard Eastern Time is? It is our Radiant Wrap. Yes, my friends, here I am every Thursday at 5 Eastern Standard Time just to share a little bit of something. So you see, today I'm out on my porch. It's a beautiful day. And I just thought I'd come out here. If for some reason my mouth is moving and you cannot hear me right now, I'm praying to God that you will put into the chat, girl, we can't hear you. Because I forgot to check my audio to make sure that it was working. And I have been known to come on with no audio. I'm such a daggone rookie at this, but you know what? I just plug away. Anyways, it's a beautiful day. I'm glad to be here. And I wanted to share today a little something that I thought was interesting in a book, one of my favorite books at the moment, written by one of my favorite people in the world, a book that I highly recommend. I recommend this book for so many reasons. Everybody should read it. I just think this book, Becoming, this one right here. Have you read it? If you're watching right now and you've read this book, can you tell me you've read it? Or if you're watching right now and you haven't read that book, can you tell me you haven't read it? I recommend it. And you know what? A lot of my friends that are, I won't say a lot, but some of my friends that are of Caucasian descent have asked me, like in the last year, well, what can I do? Or is there something I can do? Yes, Becoming. And just wanting to understand Black people. Well, this book right here, I think, is a really good depiction of a lot of stories of African Americans. I think Michelle captures it well. I admire how she was raised, and I can identify with a lot of the things that went on in her life as she grew up. She was very blessed, not with material things really, but with a solid family foundation. Parents that stayed together, that were hardworking. And I think that anyone that reads it will gain something from reading the book. Oh, have you, Patricia? Have you, Pat? Wow, that's awesome that you listen to it. Yeah, you can read it out loud or listen to it. So the reason that I wanted to mention the book for that reason first, just to say it's a great book, it's a great read. And I think some people, whether you voted for Obama or not, you will understand so much more about the African American experience from such an accomplished, of course, African American woman, wife. But it's not just an African American story. That's why I want you to read. So many people will be able to relate to that book. But anyways, there's a part in this book, I don't know, somewhere around the middle of the book, where she talks about, this is before she's First Lady. I think maybe right before, no, it was during the campaigning. So it was 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And she took her daughter, she has two, Malia's her oldest, who's 22 now. So at the time she was about 9 or 10. And then Sasha is 3 years younger than her. Well, Malia was born with asthma. So she took Malia to the doctors every 6 months to a year just to check up on the asthma and make sure everything was okay. And so she went for the pediatrician visit, and everything was good with the asthma. But what the pediatrician told Michelle was that Malia's body mass index, if you heard that word, body mass index is BMI. Maybe you've heard it as BMI, that it was rising. And a BMI, or body mass index, takes into consideration your height, your age, your weight. And I'm sure since she was at the pediatrician's office, it was some other factors that were taken into consideration, but her BMI was on the rise, right? And that it was okay for now, but it was nothing for her. The pediatrician was telling Michelle nothing for her to be alarmed about, but just wanted her to know that rising BMI was an indicator that could mean that at some point, Malia would be at higher risk for hypertension, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes, right? And other factors that can come about by being overweight. Well, Michelle was really taken back because she prided herself in the way that she mothered. She was a mom, much like a lot of the moms that I know. Was a working mom, but she made sure she was there for her kids. And despite everything that was going on, she was a hands-on mom. And so I just want to read a little bit from the book of what she said. Okay. So how lame is this that I didn't, I have some notes. So let me just go to my notes. It's somewhere around page 230-ish something. Okay. But what she says is, we've been eating out more. With less time to cook, I often picked up takeout on my way home from work. This is verbatim. This is quote. I made some notes. In the mornings, I packed the girls' lunch boxes with Lunchables and Capris. I know I did that. Weekends usually meant a trip to McDonald's, drive-through window after ballet or soccer practice, or before soccer. None of this, our doctor said, was out of the ordinary or even all that terrible of a solution, but too much of it could be a real problem. And what she said was something had to change, but she was at a loss of how to make that happen, because every solution seemed to demand more time. Time in the grocery store, time in the kitchen, time spent chopping vegetables. This is what she says in the book, or slicing the skin off of chicken breasts. I'm pretty much quoting. All of this coming right when the time felt as if it were already on the verge of extinction in my world. Why? Because at the time, Barack had already announced he was running for president, right? He was running for the first term of the presidential election. Now, I just related to that so much. My children are older now, but I know there's a lot of you, even if you don't have children, it's the time, right? That is a problem. Like if you want to improve maybe blood sugar, you want to improve, you don't want the kids to have bad BMIs, you don't want to have a bad BMI, you don't want to to elevate your blood pressure. You don't want to do it, but how do you find the time? Well, one, I am definitely going to say that none of us are as busy as Michelle. So Michelle, what she did was she was able to hire a cook to come and cook for her a couple times a week. Okay, so I don't want that to be an out for us, okay? Because let me just say that this is 2000, like I said, 2008. Well, she was vice president for the community and external affairs at the Chicago Medical Center at the time. And so she had a huge job. And I know some of you have huge jobs, right? You're just really busy. But I don't think any of you have a spouse, or I don't think any of you are running for president, because we just had an election. So I'm going to venture to say that none of us are as busy as this woman, right? Okay, maybe you'll rival how busy she is, but we can't say you're busier than her. So what I wanted to do is just give us a few ways, knowing how busy you are. Yes, if you can hire and she had the chef come in a couple times a week, and they prepared foods, and she learned a lot too in that process. So if you can afford to have a chef come over a couple times a week, go for it. Do that. I know a lot of us cannot afford to do that. But what I want to suggest is that when possible, ask for help. Get help. So whether it's your children, I had a conversation with one of my cousins today, and we were talking about that a little bit, just how she was getting her son, who's young, like 10, more involved in household chores. So we can ask for help from our children, from our parents, from our, friends. We can please ask for help. Don't feel like you have to do everything alone. So that would be number one in terms of nutritionally. Number two, if number one is get a chef, but let's just assume we're not going to get a chef. If you're watching this now, or if you're watching it on the replay, can you put in the chat, I'm busy? I'm busy, because I know a lot of you are really freaking busy. Okay. So what I'm suggesting is that you ask for help from your children, from your parents, from your siblings, from your neighbors. If you need help, especially when you're going through a particular period in your life, you might need help. And it's nothing wrong with that. Ask for help. I had oh shoot, I wish I had my kids here. Golly, they'll remember her. I always had help. I didn't always depend on it, but I was never around family, right? When I was raising my kids, never. But Mrs. June, when I was in Massachusetts, Mrs. June, she was and lived a block away. She would come over and help take care of the kids, so I could go shopping, or and she was a bit weird. Like the kids loved her, but she was she liked to dress like a clown. I'm serious. I knew she would take really good care of my kids. She was just eccentric. That was the term for her. And she loved to entertain them. And my kids, I knew they would be safe with her. So I had her. And when I came to Tampa, I had several people from my church to call on when I needed to. I had Natalie was a babysitter sometimes. Miss Anita was a babysitter sometimes. I had other families to help me when I needed help. We would get together on birthday parties. Miss Paula, good Lord. If I got together with Miss Paula, then we just have a party, it'd just be us. There was always, and others. I mean, those are just a few, but I'm just saying that I had, and I had my church too, built-in support to help me. So number 2, and regarding nutrition, have a day that you go shopping with a list. So one of the tools, I didn't have this then, but one of the tools that I think is a really good tool to use is like a Google form for your family, because a Google form is a live form. So if you make a list on something like a Google form, then anybody can add. If the kids are older, they can add to the list. Your husband can add to the list. You can add to the list. So anyone can add to that list, and it lives. It's alive. And so you would always have it. And then have a day, once you have your list, have a day that you go shopping. A day, plan that in your time that you go shopping with your list, using something like that Google form so any member of the family can add. Then, and this is what I do for my clients, right, that I coach, I recommend that they have a prep day. Prep days once or twice a week. Once or twice a week where they're prepping for the week. And prepping includes chopping, dicing, slicing, assembling, cooking, storing, freezing. Okay, so you take a good hour to 2 hours, depending on if you're doing it for one day or depending on if you're doing it once a week or twice a week. But you take a little chunk of time where you prep for the week. So that you have everything chopped. You have things cooked like pasta, whole grain rice, quinoa, sweet potato, baked potato. If you don't have time, prepare it ahead of time. And you can use whole grain noodles. You can use lentil noodles, right? So that you get your fiber in, because a lot of you have trouble pooping because you don't have enough fiber. So you need to get that fiber in there. Whole grains, vegetables help you to do that. Then you grill and you stir fry, you grill, you bake your meats if you eat meats, your seafood, your vegetables, you do that. You can have raw ones too. You make sure that you have Tupperware containers, and you store stuff for the week. Use your crock pots, make soups, and bake dishes. Do you have any questions? Because those are really the recommendations that I have that I was inspired to share by some things that happened even with Michelle in her journey, and how she had to figure out a solution. And those are some of the solutions that me and my best clients use during the week to stay healthy. And either they're on a weight loss journey, or they're maintaining their weight, or they're becoming toner, stronger, more fit. Those are the things that help them. And so I suggest that you use them. Any questions? Any questions? Do you want to just say hi to me? That'd be cool too. All right. So number 1, in terms of nutrition, you don't have to, and like Michelle was first attempted to feel bad because her kid was, on this trajectory to being unhealthy. Hey, Carla. Hey, Tanya, how are you? And then she got proactive. And those are some of the things. Yes, we might not be able to do exactly what Michelle did, which at the time she hired a chef. But we're not a VP, most of us, of a hospital, nor do we have a spouse, nor are we running for president. So most of us, like I said, are not quite as busy as Michelle. So if you can't hire a chef a couple times a week, make sure you ask for help. Other people will be willing to help you. And then have your shopping list, make one, use an app or like a Google form so that you can, and anyone can in your household, add to that list anytime. And then make sure you have your prep day where you do most of your cooking, get all of that hard stuff out of the way. And you're dicing, you're slicing, you're assembling, you're doing all that good stuff. You're grilling, you're making soups, all things like that will help you to prepare so that you can eat off of the same meal a couple of days. It don't bother me. I can eat off a meal like 3 or 4 days, but I'm the only one in my husband, it's just him and I most of the time now, unless, one of the kids come over or something, but he don't want to eat. Sunday is your prep day. I think Sunday is a good day for a prep day. Sometimes I prep on Sundays. For some people, it's best to have a specific day that you prep. I usually cook on Sundays, right? And I'll prep once or twice a week. I go to the store a little bit more often, but that's just my life now. It just works for me now. So you have to really do what works for you. So I'm glad Sunday is a great prep day. And even like with my clients, I try to get some of them, they have meal plans and stuff like that. So I send these forms to them weekly by Wednesday, so I can get them back by Friday so that I can get their menus or whatever to them by Saturday so that they can shop Saturday and prep Sunday as well. So I do that. So very cool, my friends. Just a little bit of information to help you to live healthy and whole and not feel like you're so overwhelmed with not having enough time. Make sure that I'm sorry, I didn't show those before. I should have. Make sure that if you have questions, you ask me or put them, here in the video, even if you're watching it on the replay. And then I will be sure to come back and answer any of the questions you have. That's it. I'm done. This week's Radiant Wrap. I love you. Listen, you just start where you are. Do what you can in terms of your overall health, being healthy and whole. And you do have greatness inside of you. We're all a work in progress. Masterpieces, but work in progresses. Love you. Mwah. Nothing you can do about it. Yes, make a huge salad. I do too. I love making huge salads, and I love making soups, and I love using beans. That's my thing. And I made some kale today. Yum, yum, yum. Love you. Bye for now.